Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Ingram Jones, and today I've got a very special guest, almost like a dear brother to me. His name is Jerome Wilson. He has a very compelling story, a very serious story, and I hope that you can spend the time now to listen to his story and his insight into the world of boxing and his life. Good afternoon, Jerome.
And good afternoon, Ingram.
How
Good
you
to
doing?
speak to you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you
Yeah,
again, Jerome, because obviously
yeah.
last time we spoke was the first time. For people who don't know who you are, just let them know a little bit about who you are and a little background story about yourself.
Okay, basically at the moment I'm just surviving now after my final boxing competition fight on the 12th of September 2014, where in the last round of the fight I sustained a serious blow that caused a bleed on my brain, which then um, basically I was put in an induced coma for 10 days while they performed the actual life-saving surgery.
Now, up to this point, you how many fights did you have as a professional before this happened?
It was my 11th fight. It was my 11th pro fight. So basically, I'm relatively a novice,
Right.
a prospect at the light welterweight division
Okay.
in British boxing.
And who was your coach at the time?
My coach Ian Baines.
Okay. And your manager?
Manager was Dave Caldwell.
Okay. Right. So this fight that you had, was it a fight that you were expected to win, or was it a tough fight for you, or how? What's the background story behind that?
Well, this fight was basically third time lucky. Basically, I should have fought two other opponents before that were
Yeah.
drafted in. They unfortunately pulled out due to injury. So at last minute, I think it was about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks or a week before, we got Serge and Bomo got thrown into the mix, and he was put forward for me to fight him.
And what
So
did you?
I didn't even have any knowledge of him basically.
So you
No,
knew nothing about him,
no, not really. I've seen him before, but
right?
I didn't really have any knowledge of him before I in the boxing.
What about your management, your team? They must have seen him. They must have had some knowledge about him.
I assume so. I would say Dave Colwell, he would have known a little bit about him. He was in his gym for a short spell, being trained by another coach who was training amateurs at the time within Dave's gym. So I'm sure Dave saw him briefly, so he had an idea of what it was about.
So what was the vision for you, Jerome? Were they targeting you to become a British champion? Did they want you to be a journeyman? What was the plan? What did they see in you? Did they see you had potential, or was it just a case of you just being another body?
Good question. Um, I saw myself at British level most definitely.
Right.
With the people who I was training with, people who I was sparring with, I was competing at a good level. And I was doing quite well. But basically, I think Dave wanted me to go on the road, um, and basically box as a journeyman, which wasn't to my liking really.
So basically, you just go around getting beat up by
By
guys
people.
coming through the ranks.
Yep, but that wasn't on my rate. I didn't want that.
So he was your manager. Was that something that you agreed when you first signed up with Dave, or
No, 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 definitely not.
so what? So what? When did that change? Was it because sometimes managers see something when they see you sparring, you may get dropped in sparring, you may get hurt by somebody. You think, this guy ain't got it. Put him on the road. What was it?
Basically, I put it down to not being able to sell many tickets.
Okay.
It's a ticket thing. So due to my ticket sales being very low, um, it was probably seen that it could make more money off me that way, because obviously I wasn't making him, bringing in the money.
Now I heard from another promoter, and in one of my interviews I did, he said that it's very difficult to sell tickets for a black fighter. Is this true, or is this just sort of? Yeah, because we've had in the times, in British boxing, we've had Ben, we've had Eubank, we've had Watson. They're three fights already. Harold Graham, you know, Bruno. So there have been black fighters that have sold
Yeah.
tickets, I'm sure. So what is it, do you think?
I think it's probably down to the people you hang about with, the people you socialize with, who basically you want to create that kind of following from,
Right.
and gain that support from them.
Right.
I don't think it's a black thing or a white thing. I'm not too sure. I don't know. It could be a culture thing. It could be.
Yeah, could
I'm
be.
not too sure.
Because I don't know. It was one
There's
promoter.
many factors. There's many factors to it.
'Cause I spoke to one promoter, one well-known promoter in this country, and he said, "Yeah, black fighters don't sell tickets. It's very difficult to shift
So
tickets for
he's
black fighters."
not on statistics
Well,
of
yeah.
his
So I guess
findings.
I can't speak from that because obviously from what I do know is that there have been black fighters in the past
Yeah.
that have done well, but okay.
They can probably link well with the boxing fan who want to see them.
Right.
And not everybody can relate to them.
Right. So I did notice there were lots of your injury and you being in a coma raised a lot of awareness over social media and over the television. People saying, "Oh, Jerome Wilson," and there were a lot of people. There was a fun setup for you at the time. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, well, I was oblivious to the fact that was happening at the time because I was in the coma.
Yep.
So when I came to and I was told about what was happening, I was shocked by it all, surprised, and I felt humbled by the fact that people were taking the time to actually just basically send positive thoughts my way and wish well for me and my family, which I'm grateful for still to this day.
So what were the sort of things that people had done for you while you were in that coma you weren't aware of?
Yeah, there were people putting on fun days. They was doing charity exhibitions, sparring exhibitions, festivals and things like that. People were putting on different kind of charity events, like evening, dinner shows and things. So I found that great for people to just get off their backs and just do that, basically for my cause.
So there was a lot of love for you then.
Yeah, definitely. So it showed me how much real support I had, really, and the kind of effect it had on many people who I've helped in the past. They basically wanted to just give back to myself.
So the biggest question is, while all this is going on, you are a British license holder as a boxer.
Yeah.
So what did the British Boxing Board of Control do for you? I mean, in terms of your injury and support, what did they do?
Support-wise, relatively nothing. I know it was nothing really. So basically, I expected a lot more from them. I asked them for certain kind of help, but no help was available. One of the guys that does work on behalf of the board, Alistair Hayes.
Yes.
He did come to visit me quite a few times while I was in hospital, and also while I was out of hospital. I invited him into my home.
Right.
And he wasn't in the capacity of working for the British Board of Control. He was basically a guy who was concerned, and he just wanted to see that I was well. So, well, basically, he came to see if I was alright. But from the support from the board, they did take some funds out of the charity Injured Boxers Fund, and they sent it my way. Yes. But in ways of support, I wasn't really given access to anything else.
So what sort of support would you have been looking for from the British Boxing Board of Control?
Do you know, that's another good question. A lot more should be done by them, actually, because you should look up to them. They're basically, you're representing the British Boxing Board of Control as a British fighter. So I would expect a injury such as my own, they would have put forward like a counsellor, for example, just to take care of the boxers in need. Because obviously they're going through such a tough time. Like it has so many mental and physical effects to them. That I would imagine that the board should basically seek out help and guidance for that fighter.
Looking back in time, if you look at Michael Watson's injuries and what happened to Michael Watson, British boxing learnt from that thing that happened that night, which was awful for Michael Watson.
Definitely.
But they learnt from that and they put things in place to make things better. Obviously, they had, I think, more ambulance and first aid nearby and stuff like that. Those things were put in place. Now Jerome Wilson's had what's happened to him. What has the British Boxing Board of Control done since then? Have they put anything in place, or have they kind of sat back, do you feel?
I feel like, yeah, definitely more than definitely they've sat back basically because I think the flustered. I don't think they know what to do. But hopefully, I wanted to create awareness about the effects that I've been through, and now I hopefully change will be made. So if this does happen again in the future, then they'll be in a position to say, well, this happened to Jerome. Jerome went through this. What can we do to help? So basically, now it'll give them a kick up the backside and a bit more experience now and a bit more background knowledge into what it's actually like to actually live with a kind of injury such as mine and what they can actually do
So,
to help that injured fighter.
so let's highlight now you've obviously safely got back to your from hospital life to day life. Obviously, day life isn't what it was before you had that bout that night.
Not at all.
What are the things that Jerome Wilson had to deal with as soon as he left the hospital bed back into day life?
I was trying to when I got out of hospital, I was basically saying to myself and putting on a front to everybody saying how I'm fine or I'm doing very well, but basically I was lying to myself. Um, so I was trying to rush ahead and do things that really I shouldn't have been doing. Um, and I was in a bit of denial, thinking that everything was fine. So basically, no one was there telling me I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't really do that, and I was basically just rushing ahead. So it was just basically I don't know. I had to take a step back and just reevaluate the situation again
So
and
what,
try and adjust to the outside world
so
again.
what were you? What was it? What were the challenges that you faced, like being at home, like day to day things that you couldn't do because of obviously the injuries? What were the things you couldn't do when you first got back home?
That's just things that I couldn't do. Is go out, meet my friends. Just basically go for a jog. I like to go for a little walk or jog for long periods of time. Just basically low energy levels, having the motivation to do certain things. I didn't have that, and I'm still struggling with that right now.
And
Um,
what were the signs of obviously through the injury? What mentally how were things for you to? Were you able to still do things the normal way? Did you have headaches? What were the symptoms you were dealing with?
yeah, there's extreme fatigue. Yeah, crippling headaches. Um, I'm going through depression. So basically, they're the kind of mental effects that affects your life, not just yours. It's your family that basically suffer with that as well.
And your
So
partner, how did she deal with it?
yeah, she's been a strong woman. I'll tell you now. She's had to put up with me. So, but I'm trying to keep sane, and she's just trying to do the same really, and just be my rock basically.
Wow. So I know that you've got a book. Is it out or is it coming out?
It's coming out the 1st of September, but
Wow.
it's
Okay.
out for pre-order right now on Amazon.
So okay, tell us what's inside the book, or give us an indication of what sort of things you discuss inside the book.
I discuss my profound experience that I had while I was in the coma. So basically, that would be a very eye-opening and unbelievable to try and comprehend what actually I've said and what I've written in there. But basically, I will explain in more detail. Explain in more detail within the book.
Okay.
Um, also talk about the actual boxing business
Yeah.
and what it's like in for a prospect coming through. So it'll be very insightful for anyone who's considering entering the boxing ranks, basically.
What's your relationship like now with Dave Coldwell?
Straight. Is strange the right word? uh,
Strange.
Strained, strange.
Oh,
Yeah. So
strained or
strange,
strange.
estranged.
Okay,
That's right.
explain.
So basically, I don't really have that much contact with the guy, really. We exchange text messages now and again, um, but not much contact at all.
Is that because of what's happened to you and the injury, or was that because of the way you were handled, or did you feel set up? How was it for you? I mean,
There's many things. I'm not too sure. I can't put my finger on that exactly. There's many things, but well, obviously I try to evaluate everything and I put it all in the book as well, which would make it basically shares my thoughts on that. But I'll have to have a sit down and actually talk with him face to face, basically, to get the exact answers that I
Wow.
need, really.
Wow. So, what goes on now? I know you talked to me about having an operation last time round. What's the situation with that? What's the news about the operation?
Yeah, I've been waiting since back in February. I was told that I would have the operation in February to have the metal plate bolted into my head,
Yep.
where a quarter of or so of my skull is missing. So I'm gonna now. It's going to happen on the 17th of August. So that's this coming Monday. I'm gonna be going back under the knife to have the metal plate bolted back into my head to give my brain protection and just regulate the pressure around my head so then I can begin my rehabilitation. Because I've been limited to the things that I can do, I've not been able to do any rehabilitation because it's too dangerous to do it.
Right, and the metal plate. I mean, that what feelings are going through you at the moment, knowing you're going to go into this operation?
Many thoughts, many thoughts. There's many different kinds of things that can happen in any kind of operation. So you have the fears, or could I die? Or what's gonna happen? How is everyone gonna feel? What kind of side effects am I gonna have from the operation? Because they're gonna have to cut my head back open again. So they could damage nerves. I could have another bleed. I could become paralyzed. There's many different kind of thoughts that are going through my head from what my consultant basically said could happen. So I've had to put certain things. I've even wrote my last will and testament. I've had to come to that stage where I've had to consider them things. You have to acknowledge them kind of things that things could go wrong, but also on a positive note, hopefully they won't do, and everything will work out fine. But you have to be aware of these things and can't be ignorant to the fact that there's many things that could happen.
So through this next operation you're having now, what do the British Boxing Board of Control have? Are they aware of this? I know you spoke to me beforehand that the British Boxing Board of Control will ask you to prove
Yeah.
that you were not fit.
That's correct. After the operation, I think they want basically a final. What is the word that they use? A
Analysis.
final diagnosis
Okay.
of what my problems are, so they can put it forward to the insurance that they deal with.
You have half your skull
Missing.
missing, and they need to do a diagnosis on that.
Yeah. So
So what about
that's
legally? What's your legal stance? What's your situation with that legally?
legally. Well, basically, I'm gonna come to that one after the operation. After I come through that, then I'm gonna deal with that. So basically, what I've done is just basically set things in motion where I found out who I need to contact, what information is required, what I need to produce, and then I just need to just go down the lines, the basically the process of of whatever it is to make a claim, if it comes to that.
And for boxing now for you, how do you feel towards the sport now? Do you look at it with still the same passion and love, or have you been turned off by it?
Mixture of feelings actually. I love the sport. I love the sport. I love what it can do for people's lives. And basically the kind of effects it has on a person's mind and body who are involved in it. We'll do it for the right reasons, and see them benefits. But I don't like the people that basically use the business for like personal gain, for example. Do you know what I mean? It's just I love the sport as a sport. I don't like it as a business. So don't like it as a business. It's a great sport, but when people use the term as a business, I can't stand it. Well, realistically, is what it is. It's a business. So
Do you think?
that's what I don't like.
Do you think if you had agreed to have been a journeyman, that you may have avoided what happened to you now? Or do you think it's just something that would have happened anyway?
It wouldn't have happened. Basically, I would have gained more experience, but I wasn't a fighter that wanted to go on the road in the first place. I was better than that. To be a roadman fighter. No bad words to people that who do decide to go on the road to make a living from that. That is their choice. It's what they want to do. and they receive great benefit from doing that. They're aware of that. It's what they wanted, what they want. But I don't know.
You're from Sheffield, right? Correct?
Yeah, correct.
So the Steel City.
The Steel City.
Johnny Nelson, Prince Nazim Hamed, Kell
Yeah.
Brook come to mind. Those great fighters. Have they spoken to you? Have you met them? Do they know your story?
Oh yeah, I did know my story. I was a training partner with Kell for quite some time when Dave Caldwell trained him. He left the Ingle camp for a while. Came to train with Dave. Dave actually became British champion with Dave while I was training with him.
Right.
So I sparred many rounds with him.
Yeah.
Many rounds with Ryan Rhodes, close friend now.
Yes.
And stable mate.
Yes.
Many years. Curtis Woodhouse, many names. I don't like name dropping, but basically, I've been in there with some great fighters, and they know me personally. So
it's not name dropping. It's doing what you do. It's
it
the
is,
business.
yeah.
You can name. There are people that name drop and don't know people, and there are people that name drop and it's just part of what you do.
Yeah. I
So it kind of gives people a better perspective of what you have accomplished or what you've done in your life. Some people can sit behind screens and only wish to have been in a ring sparring with Kell Brook or been in the Ingle camp or, a lot of people hate because they can't do it themselves. So for you to sit and say, hey, I don't want to name drop, it's what you've done. You're not lying.
Stand that.
It's the truth, isn't it, brother? It's what you've done.
It's the truth.
So, and how did you, when what happened to you, how did you feel that your community and that community kind of responded to it? I know they responded in terms of the media sort of thing, in the sort of limelight. Not saying they were trying to cash in on limelight because of your situation, but there are people like that, and I have to say they are people like that.
Many people did. When the limelight was bright and shining on me, everybody were there. And when that limelight just dims, you see no one. They're gone for dust. So you basically
So was it really like that? I mentioned it, but was it really like that?
It is like that. People do tend to forget. Everyone gets on with the life, so I understand that everyone has to get on with certain things. But for people to some people make certain promises and certain things, saying they're gonna do this and they're gonna do that, and it never really happens. It doesn't develop. That becomes a bit frustrating to actually deal with that, because why say something
when you can't honour it? Yeah.
I've had that throughout my career. People saying they're gonna do this and they're gonna do that and they're gonna be there and they're gonna do this and do that. It doesn't happen. So do you know what it is? That in itself is very frustrating to do.
That wisdom that you have, surely you could use that in a capacity to help others in the future. Surely.
I would love to have that role to advise people and guide them in the right direction, because it's one of the skills I do possess and I have the experience to do certain things like that. Pass on my knowledge.
Absolutely.
Good advice.
Let's talk about this book again, and let's talk about who's produced the book and a little bit more about that.
All right, First of all, I'd like to thank Pitch Publishing, who are the publishers that are giving me the platform to basically air out my story, get it out there, and Mark Taylor, a very talented writer and author who's helping me put this book together. He's helped me do all that. He's been very patient and worked hard with me and to put my story together.
Tell us a bit more about how you and Mark connected.
Oh, that's mad in itself, crazy in itself. Basically, I got writing on just using social media, saying that people saying, "Oh, I should change my diary into a book." It could be very inspiring and insightful for people to see exactly what it's like to recover from such a traumatic injury.
Right.
And then this got out there it was on my status about I think 3 or 4 authors that could be interested in writing my story. Mark was one of the people that says, "Oh, he'll be up for that." So then we exchanged details when I got out of hospital, and I told him about the diary and my experiences that I had while I was in my coma and how it's been, and he jumped at the chance to actually help me out. And he says, "Do you know what, Jerome? This is something that I need to do." He says, "I want to help you out here." So he says, as soon as you exchange the details and you send me your diary, what I've put together, it's a continuous thing. So I was continuously writing my thoughts, my experiences, what I was going through at the time. So it's very in depth, emotional. It's very very personal. That's diary is art's first diary I've ever written, but it's very honest and open. So basically, he's put it all together, and the publisher wanted to do an autobiography attached onto that. So basically, it's all together. So it's an autobiography with my diary entries included within it.
Wow.
So that just gives it a little bit more oomph.
Wow. So you say the 1st of September it's coming out.
1st of September it'll be out there in the shops. And
But what's the name? What's the title of the book?
It's called Wiped Out, with a question mark.
Yep.
Because I'm not wiped out. The Jerome Wilson story. So that's available right now.
And just before we conclude the interview, is any words or ways people can contact you before you finish the interview, Jerome?
Yeah, if they'd like to contact me, they can contact me at Wipeout Wilson Fitness.
That's on Twitter, right?
Yeah. So there's Wipeout Wilson Fitness, there's at Wipeout Wilson, and there's at Wipeout Wilson 12 9 14. So that's the Twitter accounts that you can connect with me on there. And I'm always happy to connect with people, talk to them. I'm not one of them people that likes to ignore certain tweets or messages. I like to reply to all tweets, because if they have time to spend on me, I have time to spend back on them. So that's basically it.
Jerome Wilson. You know, when I set up Bayloric Worldwide, we talked about the motto is champion among champions, and I have to say that among all the people that I've interviewed among the years, I've got to say that you certainly are a champion among champions.
I appreciate that. Thank you for that. No, that it inspires me to carry on as well.
Keep going, and we like we said we'd be there every step of the way. We will be there every step of the way, and my love to you and your family. I wish you a speedy recovery from the operation.
Yeah.
Because it will be successful.
Yes.
It will be successful.
It has to be.
It has to be, because there's more to come. Absolutely. We've got to keep going.
That's it.
Okay, brother. So thank you so much for talking to Bayloric TV.
It's much appreciated. All right.
You take care, brother.
Thank you.